Here is your top news article from April 26, 2026. Suspected gunman at White House Correspondents' Dinner raises questions about event security protocol. Source: CNN. A suspected gunman charged past a security checkpoint at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday. The incident has renewed questions about Secret Service protocols and whether the already tight security cordon should be changed. The star-studded annual event is now the focus of renewed scrutiny over how such security breaches are handled. Here is your top news article from April 27, 2026. Republicans split on using taxpayer funds for Trump's ballroom. Source: NBC News. Top allies of President Trump are urging Congress to fund a costly White House ballroom after a shooting forced the president to evacuate from a hotel ballroom dinner. Republicans are split on using taxpayer funds for the project, setting up an uphill battle in Congress. Despite renewed GOP calls, the plan remains controversial and far from guaranteed to pass. Here is your top news article from April 28, 2026. Iran warns Strait of Hormuz stuck in limbo as Trump mulls latest Iranian offer. Source: CBS News. The Trump administration is unenthusiastically weighing Iran's offer to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but wants to delay nuclear talks, leaving the standoff in limbo. Oil prices are rising as markets react to the potential deal and stall discussions. CBS News Tehran reporter says the government appears to be in control on the ground, with no signs of collapse, underscoring a fragile but stable situation. Here is your top news article from April 29, 2026. Appeals Court rejects Trump's request to rehear Jean Carroll verdict. Source: NBC News. A federal appeals court rejected President Donald Trump's bid to rehear his appeal of the defamation case filed by writer Jean Carroll. Carroll won an $83 million verdict against Trump in the lawsuit. The ruling leaves the verdict in place and moves the case closer to final resolution. Here is your top news article from April 30, 2026. Trump signs bill funding DHS, ending record-breaking 76-day shutdown. Source: CBS News. President Trump signed a bill funding most of the Department of Homeland Security, ending the record-breaking 76-day shutdown. This marks the longest shutdown of a federal department in U.S. history and allows DHS operations to resume. The funding came after a breakthrough on Capitol Hill that cleared the way for the bill's passage. Here is your top news article from May 1, 2026. Trump's executive order tightening U.S. sanctions on Cuba is a warning to other countries, expert says. Source: CBS News. Trump signed an executive order to tighten U.S. sanctions on Cuba, expanding penalties on the Cuban government and foreign companies that do business with it. The measures widen pressure on foreign financial institutions by threatening to bar them from U.S. markets if they continue dealings with Cuban entities. Experts say the move is intended as a warning to other countries about engaging with Cuba. Here is your top news article from May 2, 2026. King's speech was a high-stakes moment of U.S. visit, Palace says. Source: BBC News. The King's speech during the U.S. state visit was described by Buckingham Palace as a high-stakes moment. The visit has drawn a positive response after what was a difficult diplomatic challenge. Ahead of the trip, the key issues balancing Trump's enthusiasm for the King and the monarchy with his criticisms of the UK Prime Minister and the armed forces.